What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and welcome to my video on Lars Alexandersson in Tekken 6. A character that was supposed to be Swedish, but obviously not. He speaks Japanese, he has the most manga anime hairstyle I've ever seen, he's got a superhero cape. I just always felt the design was very lackluster. If you've seen my Twitch subscriber gifs, you know, Lars dies in all of them, and you might think I hate the character. I don't do any more in Tekken 7 because I feel he's very well balanced, although he could be a little bit stronger, to be fair. But I was so disappointed when he was released because, well, for one, he didn't feel Swedish, but what I really disliked was the fact that, let's see, this. Here's the power level of Heihachi and Kazuya, their maximum output if you play perfectly. And this is Lars. He just had better tools overall, you know. He was the slightly stronger character. But, well, slightly stronger. These characters are kind of shit in this game, to be fair. But what my real problem was that Kazuya, obviously, and Heihachi, they're very difficult to play. Lars, if you know Tekken design and know Lars, he's an easy, beginner-friendly character. You know, he's meant to be pick up and play. It's very easy to play. So in Tekken 6, you were actually rewarded for picking the easy character. Not only was it much easier to use all of the tools, and many of the tools, you know, worked themselves. It was kind of autopilot. Not only that, but his maximum output was stronger. So to me, just terrible balancing, and this was just such a goddamn uphill struggle in this game. And not only was it Lars, but his legacy of Tekken 6 Easy Mode was cemented with Bob as well, who was also super easy to play, super strong. So that was always my problem with Tekken 6 and Tag 2 Lars. So easy and so strong. And I just didn't like, those two should not go together, in my opinion. But, so, let's talk a little bit about Lars. And overall, his problem, you know, in Tekken 7 is that, and this is just in general, you have to say this, Bandai Namco, when they balanced Tekken 7, they did what they did with Tekken 5. They took the whole cast and just made everyone super strong, you know, from Tekken 6 and Tag 2 to Tekken 7. From Tekken 4 to Tekken 5, they did the same thing. To me, it's like the Tekken 5 syndrome. So here's the cast. Everyone is buffed for Tekken 7. For example, Tekken 7 Paul would destroy Tekken 6 Paul. There's no comparison. But Lars, for some reason, and I think this is him paying for Tag 2 and Tekken 6, because everyone kind of echoed what I said, like, he's too easy to be so strong. He was not only left behind, but he was kind of nerfed a bit. And this is down for 2 in general, which is one of the biggest nerfs to a character ever. And it really ties into his whole gameplay. And we're gonna discuss that. But this is the general explanation for why Lars is so difficult to play in Tekken 7 and why he's so lackluster. But we are gonna explain this in detail, but first I just want to start with what Lars was so great at and what he still is pretty good at. You probably know his orbital, upward 4 and upward 3, they crush a shitload. I mean, upward 3, he basically becomes invincible when he does this. But this is in Tekken 6. They actually nerfed the crushing of this. I don't know if you noticed, but they nerfed the crushing of it in Tekken 7. In Tekken 6, upward 3, I mean, it would go through literally anything. So we're gonna actually write this down, that Tekken 6 crush. That better than his Tekken 7 crush, absolutely. And his huge damage. And he has pretty good damage in Tekken 7 as well, but here you have to take it into context of a game, and I'm gonna explain this. First, I'm just gonna do a staple here. Okay. He's too hard for me. I better get back to Kazuya, I think. Let's see. Very good damage. But what you really have to note here is the wall damage, which is very important in Tekken 6 because you can actually bound at the walls like this, upward 4. Yes, his orbital bounds. I'm going to talk about this in a second. But his wall combo really stood out in Tekken 6. In Tekken 7, it still does a shitload of damage, but in Tekken 7, they've made it so, Bandai Namco, that pretty much every character has a wall combo that does a shitload of damage. In Tekken 6, Lars was very unique in having a wall combo that just blew everyone up. It really stood out in this game. Really damaging. So his combo damage was more dramatic in Tekken 6 than it was in Tekken 7. We're gonna write this down. Tekken 6 damage, I would say, takes Tekken 7. And upward 4, bounding opponents, they removed this for Tag 2, the following game. Not a minor detail, you know, if someone challenged you with a hop kick, a jumping move, absolutely not impossible, this would bound them for a combo. So that's pretty damn decent. And then we're gonna talk about a very important what was really important to Lars and what really happened to the character to make him lackluster, from strong to lackluster. And what you have to do then is dissect what are his Tekken 7 weaknesses. He's very weak to sidestep, and especially sidestep right eats him alive. So that's the opposite of sidestep left, which counters Mishima's, and he's kind of a half Mishima, I mean, at least in the lore. And then he has to take huge risks. Lars is a mix-up character, and all of his lows are very risky. You probably know this. Launch punishable, and this of course launches on counter hit. But yes, you need a counter hit, and it does crush a lot. It gives frames on hit, but still, like, it's launch punishable. And down back 1-3, low high, very risky. High, low, high, by the way. Well, he probably doesn't watch my videos, bastard. But you do have a full crouch down forward 1-2, and of course his hell sweep also launch punishable. But you have full crouch down forward 1-2, but you have to crouch into it, you know, that takes some time. And then it's only +1 on hit. Pretty lackluster, but it's not launch punishable, it's -12, so that's at least pretty damn good. Thanks for the follow. But it's okay, with the lows, you actually take risks. And this is the case in Tekken 7, but now here comes the very important distinction, and this is gonna tie into both of these. Sorry, that was ugly. We're gonna tie into both of these now. He has a problem with people stepping him to the right in Tekken 7. Here comes Tekken 6 Lars. I mean, you have these homing moves, back 1, back 1, 2. But in this game, his jabs were legendary. This 1-2 here, the second hit there, second jab, tracks both sides. Both sides. That was incredible. And then his down back 2-1, the second hit, very reliably tracked both sides. So his poking was very strong, and this was a rather poking-oriented game. So immediately, you know, Tekken 7, Lars's problem with people stepping him, not so much in this game. Look at Tekken 6 tournament footage of Lars. You'll see the top players for 1-2 quite a damn lot. And of course, now we're going to get into the most important detail, and it's the down for 2, his best move, which was completely removed. In Tekken 7, you have down for 2-1, which is that move into a high, and that is a natural combo. It's a full launch. You don't need a counter hit, but of course you can block the first hit and duck the second and then launch punish Lars. So that goes right into that very risky playstyle of Lars. But here he has a down for 2, which is safe on block. It's -9, so you lose your turn. But more importantly is that it tracks to his bad side. It actually tracks to sidestep right, down for 2 negates his greatest weakness. It doesn't track fully. If someone sidewalks you perfectly, they'll step it. But it tracks a lot to his weak side. And of course, it does a shitload of damage if it connects. It's a counter hit launcher. And also very interestingly is that he ducks a lot. So it crushes highs very reliably and very well. Down for 2 made it so that you didn't have to take huge risks, because orbital, I mean, up forward 3 is minus 21, it's launch punishable. Up forward 4 is very steppable to the right, but down for 2, track to the right, perfectly safe, launches on counter hit, 15 frames fast, it's very fast, it's his best move, it's got good range. Good range. So yes, he had a reliable way of getting huge damage without taking a risk. That's so important to a character, and that's been removed in Tekken 7. So this huge risk thing here, that's very real in Tekken 7, not so much in Tekken 6, because Tekken 6 had down for 2. And this sidestep right problem, down for 2, as I said here, helped negate that. But he also had, as I said, 1-2 and down back 2-1, which were really good in shutting down movement. I do want to add that Lars in Tekken 7, of course, he has the back 4 that on counter hit gives a lot of damage, it's safe on block, but it's not a substitute for down for 2, because down for 2 is 3 frames faster at 15 frames, and it gives a full launcher. You know, the back 4 is just no substitute for that. So that is a low risk option you have in Tekken 7, but it's just in contrast to down for 2, you know, it's not that good, to be honest. And that's what I'm trying to say with the character. In Tekken 7, you have to take huge risks to deal damage, because all of this, of course, can be stepped or block punished. The arc blast as well, it's safer here. It's minus 12. In Tekken 7, it's minus 13. And it's got better range in this game than it does in Tekken 7. Yeah, it's just... The down for 2 kind of explains everything. And as I said, it just ties into the weakness to sidestep right, the fact that you don't have to take huge risks. But down for 2-1, the substitute in Tekken 7, it's just so lackluster in comparison. And that explains the character, you know. I think this is the gist of it, the jizz of it. And I don't think I have to get into any more detail. I think that actually explains it. And Lars was, you know, really good and easy in a game where, for example, as I've shown you, Heihachi and Kazuya had their balls cut off. They were useless. So all he had to do was to be good, and he would defeat everyone. So he's not godlike, you know, like Tekken 5 characters or anything like that. But for sure he was very strong. But the fact that he was so reliable, you know, needed no execution, did so much damage, it was just really annoying to play against. But so I hope this made clear to you why Tekken 7 Lars is a problematic character, and why Tekken 6 Lars was so much more consistent and overall just a stronger character. So thanks for listening to me. I hope you have a nice day.